Got in bed, fallen asleep. Next thing, banging above me.
Ja, das ist. Я уже эту всю флешку снимал.
Banging above you. Strange voices outside. Something circling your tent in the dark. These are real moments when campers broke the one rule that could have saved them. Always stay in your tent. At night. Some survived. Others didn't. 1. The bear cub that brought death. In 2014, 3 construction workers decided to unwind on a remote island with their dog. Perfect camping trip. Peaceful. Relaxing. Then a bear cub wandered into their campsite. The dog started playing with it. The cub seemed harmless. Playful, even. So the workers did what anyone with a camera would do. They started filming the interaction. Cute content. Wholesome moment. What could go wrong? Everything. What they didn't realize was that Mama Bear was watching, close by, and she wasn't playing games. The second the dog got too close to her cub, she charged. Full speed. No warning. Pure maternal rage. Tragically, none of them made it out alive. Not the workers. Not the dog. Here's the brutal lesson. Bear cubs are never alone. If you see one, the mother is always nearby. And mother bears don't negotiate. You don't approach. You don't film. You don't engage. You leave. Immediately. These workers made the fatal mistake of treating a wild animal like a pet. They stepped outside their safety zone for a cute moment. It cost them everything. 2. The clown mask. In the bushes. Craig runs a YouTube channel called No Egg Craig. Normally, he shares cooking videos. But in October 2020, he decided to do something different. A solo camping trip near Spruce Pond. Quiet forest, beautiful scenery, perfect for a peaceful night alone. At first, everything seemed fine. Then the sounds started.
And then we're gonna call it a night. Hey! Hey! What the fuck was that? Jesus Christ.
Strange noises echoed from the woods. Craig brushed them off as typical forest sounds, wind, animals, branches breaking. But as the night wore on, the sounds escalated. Footsteps, movement, something circling his campsite. Craig called out, "Hello? Anyone there?" No response, just silence. Then more footsteps. The unease grew. The sounds weren't random anymore, they felt deliberate, calculated. Then Craig saw it. A man in a clown mask, lurking in the bushes, watching him. Panic set in. Fear gripped him. Every instinct screamed danger. Craig didn't hesitate. He grabbed his gear and ran. He didn't stop to confront. He didn't try to rationalize. He fled. To this day, the masked figure's identity remains a mystery. His intentions? Unknown. Was it a prank? A stalker? Something worse? No one knows. But Craig's survival instinct saved him. He didn't wait to find out what the clown wanted. The lesson here is simple. If something feels wrong, trust your gut. Don't investigate. Don't play detective. Get out. 3. Red, headlamps, and gunfire. Arnold Outdoors is a channel about wilderness adventures, fishing, hunting, camping in the Pacific Northwest. In January 2021, the hosts went on a winter camping trip near Bend, Oregon. They expected peace and quiet. They got the opposite. Shortly after setting up camp, they noticed something odd: people with red headlamps moving through the woods. 2 people with red lights. 2 with bright white lights. All approaching from different directions. Red flag. In the middle of nowhere, at night, random strangers don't just wander toward your campsite. The hosts immediately relocated.
Well, let's start from the beginning. There's 2 people with red headlamps on and 2 people with bright.
Found a new spot. Thought they were safe. They weren't. As night fell, distant gunshots echoed through the forest. At first, they weren't concerned. Shooting in remote areas isn't uncommon. People scare off animals, target practice, whatever. But then the shots got closer, and closer, and closer. Soon, they could hear voices. Yelling, hooting, hollering. Then someone fired again this time, uncomfortably close. The campers heard a voice shout, "Fire! Where? God dang! Right there! The realization hit. Whoever was out there had spotted their campfire. Panic mode. They killed the lights, got low, stayed silent. The shooters were driving around, firing randomly, yelling into the darkness. Were they drunk, reckless teenagers? Something more sinister? The campers didn't wait to find out. They stayed hidden, stayed quiet, waited for the threat to pass. Eventually, the voices faded. The gunfire stopped. The forest went silent again. They emerged unharmed but shaken. Imagine enjoying a peaceful camping trip, only to become a potential target for random gunfire. The hosts stayed calm. They didn't panic. They didn't run into the open. They made themselves invisible, and it saved them. 4. Footsteps around the tent. On March 9th, 2025, Thomas Locke went on his first bivvy wild camping trip with a friend. Simple outdoor adventure. Nothing extreme. At first, the night was peaceful. Deers and foxes ran around.
There's been some like deers and foxes running around. One got really close and then bolted and it heard me move. Been a lot of stuff going on, but it's not been like scary. It's been quite nice and relaxing.
One got close, then bolted. Tom dismissed his unease as paranoia, but the unsettling noises in the forest grew louder. It felt like someone was lurking just out of sight. Despite the disturbances, they eventually fell asleep. But the terror of the night was far from over. New sounds emerged. Footsteps. Close to their tent. Not animal footsteps. Human footsteps. Something or someone was circling them in the dark. Tom stayed frozen, heart pounding. Every sense on high alert. The footsteps lingered, moved around the tent, then stopped. Silence. By morning, everything returned to normal. As if nothing ever happened. No tracks, no evidence. No explanation. Was it a person? An animal mimicking human movement? Something else? Tom never found out, but the fear of that night stayed with him. 5. The man who wrote, "I love you." James runs a YouTube channel called By the Curb, where he shares camping trips and van life adventures. After a day of exploring, he parked his camper by a peaceful park, ready for a quiet night. Then, something unexpected occurred. Loud banging on his van. In the middle of the night, in an isolated spot, James woke up startled. Panic set in. Who was out there? What did they want? He gathered the courage to check. What he found was bizarre. A man, standing outside his van, yelling, appearing upset. The man was trying to look into the van. Peering through the windows, fear gripped James. The man's behavior was erratic, unstable. Then the man did something even stranger. He wrote, "I love you" on the van window. What grown man approaches a stranger's camper in the middle of the night and does that? James suspected the man might have a mental health issue. He wanted to leave, but there was a problem. He was parked poorly, couldn't maneuver out quickly. This is a critical mistake many van lifers make. Always park with an easy exit route. If something goes wrong, you need to leave fast. No obstacles, no complications. James was trapped, stuck waiting for the man to leave. Fortunately, the man eventually walked away. James remained unharmed, but the encounter rattled him. This scenario highlights every camper's nightmare. A stranger attempting to force entry. Always have an escape route. Always. 6. The bear that came back twice. Tim and Eden run the YouTube channel Truckhouse Life, sharing their road adventures. During a recent camping trip, they arrived at their site after a long journey, unaware that the real adventure was just beginning. As they settled in for the night, they heard commotion, people banging pots and pans, yelling, a dog freaking out. Someone had spotted a bear. Tim and Eden weren't concerned. They were safe in their elevated camper, way off the ground. They decided to film the chaos. Other campers scrambling.
I didn't see the moon out tonight. Well, that was interesting. I heard someone banging pots and pans and yelling and screaming and a dog freaking out, but it was just a bear someone chased off. But we're good here. We're way off the ground. Getting ready for bed. We'll see you guys in the morning, though.
Bears wandering through the campground. Then someone fired a gun. In the middle of a crowded campground. People everywhere. Tim and Eden were stunned. "You're not supposed to shoot a gun in a campground. That's insane." But the shot scared off the bear. The campground settled down. They went to bed thinking the excitement was over. The next morning, Eden walked outside and noticed something disturbing. Bear paws all over the side of her camper, a nose smudge on the window, tooth marks on the door trim. The bear had tried to get inside her camper during the night while Tim and Eden camped right next to it. The base trim was completely ripped off the door. They were feet away from a bear breaking into a vehicle. Most people would pack up and leave immediately. Not Tim and Eden. They decided to stay another night. How could you not? Are you not entertained? That night, the bears returned. This time, a mother bear with cubs. Running straight toward their campsite, Tim and Eden watched from a distance as the bear family invaded the neighboring camp people in tents, completely vulnerable. The babies were adorable. The situation was terrifying. Despite the tension, Tim and Eden maintained a positive outlook. They laughed about it afterward. But the reality is clear. Bears in campgrounds are unpredictable, dangerous. One wrong move, and you're in serious trouble. 7. The tent that got jumped. Chris runs NKPS Paranormal, a YouTube channel dedicated to real-time explorations of haunted and remote areas. On June 16, 2025, Chris returned to a deep forest in Kentucky he'd visited before, but this time, he stayed overnight. Bad decision. As night fell, Chris heard strange sounds. Footsteps. Movement. He was armed, capable of defending himself, but the sounds unsettled him. Unlike anything he'd heard in the woods before, he tried to brush it off. Relax. Enjoy the night. Then something jumped on his tent. Not brushed against it. Not bumped into it. Jumped. On. Chris froze, heart racing, mind scrambling for explanations. Who is out there? No response. Just silence. Whatever it was big. Chris grabbed his gear and investigated the forest. Found nothing. No tracks. No evidence. No logical explanation. Exhausted. He tried to sleep, but fear kept him awake. By morning, he packed up and left. To this day, Chris has no idea what jumped on his tent that night. 8. Blood-curdling screams and gunshots. On October 7th, 2022, Nick from the hunting public and a friend went on a bow hunting trip deep in the woods. No luck. So they set up a tent and camped for the night. Then they heard it. Distant screams. Then a gunshot. At first, they dismissed it. Remote areas. Hunters. Not unusual, but the screams continued, grew louder. Someone was screaming at the absolute top of their lungs, yelling obscenities. Then more gunshots. One sounded like a handgun, the next like a rifle. Nick and his friend felt chills. I've never witnessed anybody screaming like that. The screams were blood-curdling. Terrifying. Then a vehicle, revving, throwing gravel, more gunshots. Something bad was happening. Nick and his friend debated what to do. How close were they to whatever was going on? We might have been able to see it. That's terrifying. Eventually, they called the police, reported everything, provided GPS coordinates. The authorities investigated, found nothing. To this day, no one knows what happened in those woods. Were the screams from someone in distress? Were the gunshots aimed at someone? Nick and his friend escaped unharmed. But the memory haunts them. 9. The bear that circled the tent. On August 13th, 2023, Joseph from 50 Over 50 Fishing went on a camping trip. He woke up to a weird noise outside his tent. Then he heard it. Growling. A bear circling his tent. The growl intensified.
There's something else.
Joseph's fear escalated. He reached for his gun, aimed it toward the tent wall where the bear was. The bear pushed against the tent. Joseph felt the whole structure shift. He stayed frozen, finger on the trigger, ready to defend himself. Fortunately, the bear eventually left. Joseph didn't waste time. By morning, he packed up and got out. 10. The bullet that missed by 2 feet. On October 4th, 2021, Johnny from Florida, boy Johnny and his friend Danny began a hiking trip. As they neared their campsite, they noticed something odd. An old solitary truck parked exactly where they needed to be. Red flag. They continued hiking.
There we go.
There's somebody down here already.
Uh-oh.
That's kind of spooky.
It's spook. What are we gonna do?
Well, he's parked exactly where we need to be. Of all places.
Dig.
Tried to dismiss the nagging feeling that something was wrong. Then they heard it. A gunshot. Close. Then another. Right above their heads. A bullet hit a tree about 2 feet away from them. Johnny yelled out, "Can you hear me?" No response. He yelled again. And again. Finally, one response. Couldn't make out what was said. They realized the truth. Someone had just shot at them. This wasn't a stray bullet. This was targeted. Fearing for their safety, they reported the incident to police and chose a different trail out. Later, authorities explained it was hunting season, but that didn't sit well with Johnny. Hunting season or not, you don't fire at people. Who pulled the trigger that day? Was it reckless? Intentional? Johnny never found out. 11. The tornado that changed everything. In August 2024, TJ from Kayak USA went on a camping trip at Lake Guntersville. What started as a tranquil scene shifted dramatically in minutes. Dark clouds approached. Wind picked up to dangerously high levels. TJ and his cousin Dylan sought shelter under a gazebo, but the storm's fury was overwhelming. The wind grew so strong it threatened to lift the gazebo. They held it down with all their strength. Then a tree fell, just feet away. Another tree came down beside them. TJ watched in terror. "I think we're in a tornado." When the storm calmed, they made a chilling discovery. Their original camping spot where they'd planned to park was now buried under a fallen tree. If they hadn't made a last-minute decision to park elsewhere, they would have been right in the path. They would have died. What made this encounter so unsettling was the unpredictability of nature. How quickly a routine camping trip can turn deadly. 12. The mysterious gunshot in the night. On March 28, 2021, Xander Budnick, a YouTuber with nearly 20 years of camping experience, went on a trip near his home. 20 years. That's 2 decades of sleeping in forests, navigating backcountry terrain, and handling every outdoor scenario imaginable. If anyone knew how to handle themselves in the wilderness, it was Xander. But experience doesn't always prepare you for everything. Xander packed his gear methodically. Tent, sleeping bag, fire starter, knife, first aid kit, the essentials. He hiked into the forest, documenting everything as he went. Camera rolling, narrating his setup, showing viewers his campsite selection process.
What the hell is that noise?
He found a clearing. Flat ground, good drainage. Far enough from animal trails, but close enough to water. Perfect spot. He pitched his tent as the sun began to set. Built a small fire, cooked dinner, sat back, and enjoyed the stillness. The forest was calm, peaceful, exactly what he'd hoped for. Birds chirped their evening songs. Wind rustled through the trees. The crackling fire provided warmth and comfort. Xander felt at ease. This was routine, just another night in the wilderness. As darkness fell, he extinguished the fire, packed away his food to avoid attracting animals, and climbed into his tent. He zipped up the entrance, settled into his sleeping bag, checked his camera one last time before turning it off. Everything felt normal, but later in the night, the atmosphere changed. The forest became eerie. That peaceful stillness transformed into something unsettling. Something heavy, the kind of quiet that makes your skin crawl, where every small sound feels amplified, where your brain starts playing tricks on you. Xander woke suddenly to a strange distant sound that resembled a cry. Not an animal cry, not a bird, not the wind, something else. Human? Possibly, but distorted, echoing through the trees in a way that made it impossible to pinpoint. He stayed still, eyes open, heart rate climbing, trying to pinpoint its source. Was it coming from the left? The right? Behind him? The acoustic properties of a dense forest can be disorienting. Sounds bounce, echo, seem to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Xander listened intently, controlled his breathing, tried to separate the sound from the background noise of the forest. The cry came again. Longer this time, more drawn out. It sounded pained, desperate, like someone or something in distress. Xander's mind raced through possibilities. Injured hiker? Someone lost and calling for help? An animal in a trap? Or something worse? He reached for his flashlight but didn't turn it on. Didn't want to give away his position, because there was another possibility he couldn't ignore. What if it wasn't someone in distress? What if it was bait? Predators, both human and animal, have been known to use distress calls to lure victims. Xander knew this. He'd heard the stories, read the reports. People who heard cries for help, investigated, and were never seen again. So he stayed in his tent, motionless, listening. The sound continued, irregularly spaced, sometimes close, sometimes distant. Each time it came, Xander felt his muscles tense. His hand gripped the knife he kept near his sleeping bag. Minutes felt like hours. Then a gunshot rang out. A single shot. Clear, unmistakable, echoing through the forest like thunder. The eerie noises stopped. Immediately, silence. Complete and total silence. No birds, no wind, no rustling leaves. Just dead quiet. Xander listened intently, heart pounding. Every sense on high alert. Who fired that shot? Where did it come from? Was it aimed at the source of the cries, or at something else? Was someone hunting illegally in the middle of the night? Was it a warning shot? Self-defense? Or was it something far more sinister? Xander's mind ran through scenarios. Possibility 1. A hunter shooting at a predatory animal making strange noises. Possibility 2. Someone defending themselves from a threat in the forest. Possibility 3. Something criminal. Something violent. He had no way of knowing, and that uncertainty was terrifying. The forest remained quiet. No follow-up shots. No more cries. No voices. Just silence. Xander stayed frozen in his tent, hand on his knife, eyes wide open, listening for any sign of movement. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Still nothing. His rational mind tried to calm him, told him it was probably nothing. Just coincidence. A hunter. But his instincts screamed otherwise. Something about the timing felt wrong. The cries, the gunshot, the immediate silence. It felt deliberate, intentional, like someone or something had been silenced. Xander considered his options. Option 1. Investigate. Grab his flashlight and knife. Leave the tent. Try to find the source of the gunshot. Bad idea. If someone was out there with a gun, making himself visible would be dangerous, potentially fatal. Option 2. Pack up and leave immediately. Hike out in the dark. Also risky. Moving through a forest at night without clear visibility increased the chance of injury. And if someone dangerous was out there, movement would attract attention. Option 3. Stay in the tent. Wait until morning. Leave at first light. The safest choice. Xander chose option 3. He stayed in his sleeping bag, knife within reach, ears straining for any sound. Despite his fear, exhaustion eventually took over. He managed to sleep through the rest of the night. Fitful, restless, waking at every small sound. By morning, the forest had returned to normal. Birds chirped. Sunlight filtered through the trees. The oppressive atmosphere of the night had lifted. It felt peaceful again, safe, as if nothing had ever happened. Xander packed his gear quickly. No breakfast, no lingering, just pack and go. He scanned the surrounding area as he worked, looked for footprints, disturbed ground, anything unusual. Nothing. No evidence of anyone or anything having been near his campsite. He finished packing and started hiking out, moving faster than usual, eager to leave the forest behind. Once home, he reviewed his camera footage, checked the audio, tried to identify the sounds he'd heard. The cries were faint on the recording. Distant. Hard to make out clearly. The gunshot was unmistakable. Xander searched the local news for reports of strange activity in the area. Missing persons, hunting accidents, police investigations. Nothing. No reports. No incidents. No explanations. Was it an animal? A person in distress? A violent crime? No one knows. And that's what makes it so unsettling. The not knowing. The possibility that something terrible happened in those woods that night. Something that went unreported, uninvestigated, unknown. Why you stay in your tent. These are the reasons you always stay in your tent at night. Bears, Masked strangers, random gunfire, footsteps in the dark. Some campers ignored the rule and survived. Others didn't. The wilderness is unpredictable, dangerous, unforgiving. Your tent is your only protection. Stay inside. Stay safe. Stay alive.